An Australian and a British citizen were kidnapped in Turkey late Friday. Turkish authorities say the Westerners were on a mission in search of Noah's Ark when they were abducted by a band of Turkish separatists near Karlovia. The group was working on a television special. The TV company's owner told CNN the rebels are known to take hostages to embarrass their government.
U.S. intelligence.
Nashville. From Channel 4 News, this is The Scene at 10 with Laura Brooks, Cynthia Williams, Mike Bohan, and Joe Fisher.
Good evening. American and Turkish authorities are trying to find 5 Westerners tonight who were kidnapped earlier today by Kurdish rebels. One of the men is a Nashville amateur archaeologist. Ron Wyatt was in Turkey with a group which is trying to prove the existence of Noah's Ark. There's been no word on how the search is going, but Wyatt's wife is confident they will be released. Ron Wyatt is an anesthesiology nurse by profession, but his main focus in life, according to his wife, is archaeology, specifically proving that Noah's Ark exists.
In 1959, he saw a picture of a boat-shaped object in Life magazine and was more than deeply impressed that that was the remains of Noah's Ark, and he's went out there in '77 and has gone out there many times every year since then, and you know, has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is Noah's Ark.
Wyatt was in Turkey with 5 other Westerners when they were kidnapped early this morning by Kurdish guerrillas. Kurdish Workers' Party is the group suspected in the kidnapping. The guerrillas kidnapped 10 German tourists from the same area earlier this month. They were released a week later. Wyatt's business partner, Doug Snyder, says on this trip, Wyatt was trying to, quote, arrange a preliminary excavation on the site that we believe is in fact Noah's Ark, in preparation for a primetime television special now in production. Wyatt's wife says the information that will be in that special will change people's lives.
But when they have something tangible to look at and see and scientific evidence, then it gives them a reason for the faith.
Mary Nell Wyatt acknowledges that spending so much time in Turkey is risky. Ron Wyatt has made 30 trips there since 1977, but she's confident her husband will be released.
I expect them to be released and go about their work. They're over there for a purpose. And
the State Department says it's monitoring the kidnapping in Washington and at the U.S. Embassy in Ankara. The rebels that took Wyatt want a separate Kurdish state in what is now eastern Turkey.
And this area is called the Black Hell. It's a very, very rough terrain, and on our way out, after we had gotten away from these terrorists and were being flown out by helicopter, we were able to video some of this to give you an idea of the type of terrain that we had to travel through every night for approximately 21 nights.
Wyatt was in Turkey with 5 other Westerners when they were kidnapped early this morning by Kurdish guerrillas. Kurdish Workers' Party is the group suspected in the kidnapping. Mary Nell Wyatt acknowledges that spending so much time in Turkey is risky. Ron Wyatt has made 30 trips there since 1977, but she's confident her husband will be released.
I expect them to be released and go about their work. They're over there for a purpose.
Today, Wyatt's wife was told by the State Department that her husband's longtime escort and driver, who was with the group just before the kidnapping, had been arrested by the Turkish government, questioned about possible involvement with the kidnappers, and then was released this morning.
I was concerned because I knew that Ron was very close to De La Var, and I knew how he trusted him. He trusts him in ways that he doesn't trust a lot of people. And so I knew there was no doubt, and I felt helpless. I wanted to do something.
But Mary Nell still has no word about her husband.
There's really nothing, they don't have any new information as such. They told me that while they know it was near the town of Bengal that they were taken hostage, they still don't know where they are. They still don't know which particular group is claiming responsibility for this, because there's been no claim and no demands made yet.
But there is speculation that it was the Kurdish Workers' Party that kidnapped the men. the same group that kidnapped 10 German tourists from the same area a month ago.
What I've heard is that the group that have him doesn't like tourism over in Turkey or anything, and he's working on a project that would bring a whole lot of tourism into the country.
At first, I was very worried about him. I still am, but I believe that he is doing the Lord's work and that everything will turn out the way it's supposed to.
It looks to me like they just want a microphone to be heard, and this is the only way they can get it.
Well, actually, a lot is going on, but I'm kind of...
The Wyatt's phone won't stop ringing. Anxious relatives and friends are slowly getting the disturbing news.
I'm nervous. I'm concerned because he's one of the nicest men I know.
If he was in Lebanon, it would disturb me greatly, but it wasn't.
To listen to Mary Nell Wyatt, one might think her husband Ron is just late coming home from work. Hers hardly seems the voice of someone whose spouse disappeared a week ago, reportedly the captive of violent rebels thousands of miles away.
Ron takes only calculated risks. He weighs everything before he does something.
Wyatt's confident tone belies her faith. Faith in her religion, and faith that her husband is about to be free. Ron Wyatt is a nurse in Nashville, but he's dedicated his life to proving that this formation in the mountains of eastern Turkey is in fact the remains of Noah's Ark. 8 days ago, the U.S. State Department said members of the Kurdish Workers' Party, or PKK, kidnapped Wyatt and 4 others on a tour through eastern Turkey. The PKK is a rebel group fighting for an independent Kurdish state in eastern Turkey and northern Iraq.
They're living under other governments, and they're just trying to strong-arm their way somehow to exert their dominance.
Today, the Associated Press reported that Wyatt and his colleagues would be freed tomorrow. The AP says PKK leaders made that claim in a message to a Turkish newspaper. But that report conflicts with a French wire service story today. It quotes a PKK leader denying any involvement in a kidnapping.
Then we were flown out by helicopter from there to Batman, Turkey. They're the Black Hawk Squadron. It was a helicopter battle group. We're on maneuvers, and as we went back out over the area, we were able to film a bit of that. And what I didn't know was that there was a very large twin-propped helicopter bristling with armament that was shadowing us from where I was sitting. I couldn't see this. So I was, shall we say, not a happy camper until we got to the Black Hawk landing base at Batman. From there, we were flown into Incirlik Air Force Base. These people treated us very, very nicely. Everybody, the Australian, the Briton, and ourselves. And shall we say, we were given some psychological information so that we wouldn't think we were crazy when we had bad dreams about being back out in the area and having flashbacks and that sort of thing.
A Nashville woman says her husband looks tired and a little thinner, but otherwise in good health after the ordeal he's been through. Mary Nell Wyatt today got to see the first pictures of her husband Ron since Kurdish rebels released him from 3 weeks of captivity.
Oh, it's so good to see him.
Ron Wyatt is an amateur archaeologist who was kidnapped in eastern Turkey along with 4 other Westerners.
They were constantly traveling by foot, that they were moving them around all night long, and then the only time they could sleep was during the day, and they said it was so cold that and they didn't have warm clothing.
Mrs. Wyatt expects her husband home early next week.
First class.
That's right, he's going to be up there with the captain.
Recording in here, Michelle, hit this button right here.
Inside?
Right there. You can go ahead and hit it.
Oh, there he is.
He's got a cane.
Noah's Ark, but they were abducted by Kurdish rebels and held for 3 weeks. They were finally released, and Wyatt returned home to Dallas last week. Wyatt says he found the final resting place of the...